Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. Are you consistent in your recovery from chronic pain or symptoms? So we'll get to that in a second. Hand on the heart, breathe. Relax. Trust you're actually okay. Smile. It's going to be all right. All right, so consistency. It comes up a lot. So if you're new to me and my videos, I talk a lot about this concept called TMS. That's the historical term for it. I've coined the phrase perceived danger pain or perceived danger symptoms, which are both a perceived danger response. So use whatever words you like, but I basically think that all these symptoms are basically a response from the brain perceiving danger. So if the brain's perceiving danger, we need to teach the brain, hey, that danger is not actual. It's perceived. It's, presumed. It's an opinion that it's dangerous, but it's not accurate. So, that being the case, if that's what's turning on symptoms or keeping them going, the solution, in my opinion, is teaching the brain, hey, those perceived dangers are not actual. They're not a threat, and therefore I don't need to hurt as a result of those things that the brain is perceiving as dangerous. So safety. And, one of the first videos I did on this was called Consistent Messages of Safety, 24 examples. The key phrase there is consistent. Are you being consistent in your attempts to teach your brain that you're actually okay? Because the lack of consistency can actually, prevent or at minimum delay recovery, right? For example, you hear me talk sometimes about trying not to freak out because nobody ever got better by freaking out. So, freak out less. Be calm more. Consistently calm. And so it does matter. And consistency applies to a number of things. Your thinking, your emotional response to the symptoms, your approach to it. Are you consistently responding to your pain in a calm, soothing way that says, yeah, I'm not really concerned. I know it's there. I know it's not comfortable, but I'm okay. If you do that 9 times out of 10, but on the 10th time you freak the heck out, oh my goodness, do you think the brain's going to buy the messages of safety? It's going to be like, sounds good, but what was the deal yesterday? You freaked out. And so the brain is going to stay cautious and overly protective if you continue to fuel the fire with more fear and attention. So consistency matters. And even if you can only get halfway there in calm reassurance, that's better than going full out, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, freak out, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, freak out. It's much better to be more neutral, but consistently. So it's really important. Consistency in our thoughts, consistency in our beliefs. Have you made a decision, a firm decision, like, darn it, a firm decision that says, I know that perceived danger is the only thing that's going on. I know this thing called TMS is the only thing that's going on. Because if you're like 85% of the way there, but sometimes you're like, yeah, I don't know. When the symptoms get really colorful, a lot of people say that's when I start to doubt. But why? Structural problems don't feel, 5 out of 10 one day and then 10 out of 10 the next day without some precipitating, assault to the body, injury, fall, impact, right? You got a broken arm and it's well casted, it's secure. pain's going to be fairly consistent with that. It's not going to be a level 5 today and a 10 the next day unless somehow you smack it against the desk, right? The shifting symptoms, even if it's always there, even if your symptoms are always present, sometimes they'll go up, sometimes they'll come down. They'll show up on a schedule. Hey, I'm pretty good until 4 p.m., but then things go wild, right? That's called a conditioned response. It's happened a couple times. You start to expect it. Next thing you know, your brain goes, well, you expect to hurt at 4 o'clock, so here you go, at your request. But let's get back to consistency. Are you consistent in your decision that this is it? This is all that's going on. TMS, perceived danger response, perceived danger pain, symptoms. Consistency in that belief and in that response. Because if you know that it's TMS, it basically means by definition, you're actually okay. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you, right? Dr. Sarno, the guy who really popularized this whole mind-body concept, used to dismiss his patients from his office after he'd see them, advise them, and everything else. He'd say, like, go live your life. There's nothing wrong with you. And I know that's true because I've talked to probably a dozen people who over the years have actually been blessed to go meet with him in his office as a patient. And every one of them has told me that story. Go live your life. There's nothing wrong with you. And really, that's the core message that I'm trying to carry forward. You're already okay. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing to heal. Just got to teach your scared, overprotected, and often misdiagnosed and misinformed brain that you're actually okay. You take the danger, you counter that with safety and accurate knowledge of what's really going on. Guess what happens? You start feeling better than you have in a long time. Just got a YouTube comment from somebody. And he said, you know, Dan, I found your videos recently. And I started binge watching them. And after years of trying this, that, and that, finally started to buy into the message that you've been teaching in these videos. And for the past 6 days, I've had the best 6 days I've had in years. And I'm paraphrasing here because I just read it once, and I may actually end up sharing that just to show you how quickly the brain will respond to clarity, which this person had. Clarity. Nothing else makes sense, but this does. This person made a decision that this is it. Decided to commit. Started to binge watch a number of my videos to really absorb the knowledge up front, and started implementing these consistent messages of safety, and has felt better recently than they have in years. It doesn't have to take forever, and recovery will be shorter and shorter the more consistent you are. So look, I understand sometimes it gets overwhelming. I understand sometimes you just want to cry, and you do cry. That's fine. Allow it out, feel those emotions, but then pick yourself up and move forward. Remind yourself, yeah, this is overwhelming, I'm really upset about it, but I know I'm on the right track. I see the path laid in front of me, and I'm going to keep on walking that path consistently until I get to the end of the road and get through this and teach this scared, misinformed brain that I'm actually okay. That's the name of the game. We're not fixing body parts. We're not healing symptoms. We're recovering from fear. And in order to do that, first and foremost, you got to make a decision as to what's going on. What is going on? Well, perceived danger creates symptoms. It creates a response, which are symptoms or pains. Know that that's what's going on. Look, until you make the decision that this is what's going on, everything else is infinitely more difficult, more challenging. It's easier to get upset, easier to freak out, and delays recovery. So if you have not yet made a decision that your symptoms are perceived danger, are caused by the perception of danger, make that decision. What are you waiting for? Because holding on to doubt, because what if it's something else? What if the doctors missed something? And I just had one of my group coaching members in the call today saying, I got like 5 different symptoms. And sometimes I worry that it might be this, it might be that. I said, take the pain test once per body part. And she came back and said, I did. The lowest score was 41 out of 50. The highest score, 48 out of 50. She now has confirmation that all 5 of these body parts are TMS, or as I call it, perceived danger pain. I really hope she makes the decision to accept that once and for all. Because from there, things get easier. She can be more consistent in her response to go, hey, brain, look, I'm really not concerned because I know the brain is causing the pain, not any perceived flaws with these body parts. So, consistency really matters. Make that decision so you can be consistent with your belief about what's going on. If you keep on wavering back and forth, you're not consistent. Don't be surprised that this takes longer than it should or than it needs to. Things can shift quickly when you make that decision firmly. Get it from here and go, darn it, I'm not wavering. This is what's going on. And then consistently responding to any symptoms with calm, a smile even. Hey, brain, shh, we're actually okay. Remember, we did the analysis. We know that there's really nothing going on here. The body's fine. The brain's just misinformed and operating on fear. And therefore, the alarm system goes off way too easily for things that are not really dangerous. So I hope this has impressed on you the need to become more consistent with how you're approaching your recovery. But you can't be consistent if you haven't made a decision. So that clarity, the certainty, the decision is job number 1, because once you make that decision, your brain has a radar system called the reticular activating system that begins to look for evidence that the decision you just made is true. And trust me, the brain will find it. But make the decision so that you can be consistent in your response to the pain, in your beliefs about it, how you're thinking about it, and consistency with shifting your attention towards engaging your brain in something other than fixing your symptoms. So I hope this makes a lot of sense for you folks. Consistency, consistency, consistency. That's the name of the game. So, love you all, and we will see you tomorrow. Take care.